All right. Avoiding the sun is for Soymen. That's pretty much it. So, sunlight benefits before we get into everything else, and kind of why I think this whole sunscreen, avoid the sun thing, is kind of a scam. And the sunscreen bros are not really, too smart, too intelligent in this field, honestly. So, sunlight benefits mental health, all right, mood, right? Vitamin D. Vitamin D is one of the biggest benefits you get from the sun. And the artificial vitamin D supplements, though they are good, they will not replace just being out in the sun. You get like, I think I could be wrong, and this could be crazy, but like 20,000 IUs are generated if you spend like an hour in the sun, like on a legit sunny day, right? And it's like hot out and whatnot. Your sleep quality goes up by a lot, especially if you get sunlight in the morning. I talked about that in my morning routine video. Like I said, your mood, your testosterone, because vitamin D. Vitamin D is a regulator for your testosterone, so that'll also go up and be better because you're out in the sun and you're getting vitamin D. Your skin health also improves a lot as well. I noticed that in the wintertime, my acne, is kind of worse because at times, because of the fact that it's cloudy out, especially here in Michigan. I think we get more cloudy days than any other state in the US. Um, Maybe like Alaska or something, but I heard that from somebody before that we have more cloudy days than any other state, and usually it's in the wintertime. So it's rough. But yeah, here's where it gets stupid. All right. So we know the benefits of sunlight, but the medical recommendation, I kid you not, is 5 to 15 minutes of sunlight exposure daily. They say, yeah, that's fine. That's enough. That's apt. You get any more than that, make sure you're putting your 50 SPF sunscreen on, or else you might just get burned. You might get freaking skin cancer if you're out there for 30 minutes. That's BS. That's BS. And we're gonna get into why that's stupid. And like you tell me, dude, does being in the sun for 5 minutes actually do anything to you? Do you experience any of these benefits or feel as though you're experiencing any of these benefits? And you can actually, skin health, mood, mental health, sleep quality, those are actually benefits you can measure and gauge pretty easily. Testosterone and vitamin D, you have to go get like your testosterone checked and whatnot. But for these benefits, you can check pretty easily and self-examine. Does 5 minutes of sunlight actually do anything, any of that to you? Does it benefit you in any of those ways? No. No, it doesn't. And I don't well, yeah, I mean, kinda like, I kinda, like, feel better afterward. No. I'm talking about long term, long duration. Does it actually do it? No, it doesn't. And I will 100% stand and die on this hill. This is stupid. This is soy. This is, like, weird medical advice that we're getting in the 21st century, and it's like, no wonder everyone's unhealthier, right? This is so stupid. If you guys actually buy this and if you guys, actually roll with this, I get it. It's kind of what you've been told, but I'm gonna try and tell y'all why you shouldn't, and I might go more in depth on this in future videos, but let's get into it. So here's an interesting statistic. Who's they? I ain't gonna tell you. You feel me? Like I ain't gonna tell you who they is. But this is the interesting statistic they try to hide. So, first of all, skin cancer rates have gone up about 1,700% since 1950. Yes, this is a real statistic. 17-fold since 1950. And oddly enough, in the 1950s, wearing sunscreen wasn't actually common. It wasn't. That was not normal. You would wear suntan lotion to tan more and to tan better. We also had more natural foods, right? We weren't eating all this artificial crap. And what's so weird to me is that every other cancer gets blamed for kind of an array of causes, right? There can be a lot of different causes. Your diet, your lifestyle, right? In terms of like, do you exercise? Do you move around a lot? Stress, all that type of stuff. But skin cancer only gets blamed for one thing. I said wearing sunscreen, but I guess really like not wearing sunscreen, right? Not exposing yourself, or I guess exposing yourself to the elements, right? It's so stupid that this is the only cancer that seems to get blamed for just like, oh, but if you're just out in the sun, you're cooked. Now they will say that okay, your diet and lifestyle can impact it, but it's not really talked about, right? It's not talked about at all. But what's so weird is like with all this in mind, right? Skin cancer rates have gone for 1,700% is absolutely freaking mind-boggling, dude. Like, imagine if you increased your muscle by 1,700%. You would go from having maybe like what 75 pounds of like pure muscle mass to let me try and do them. Let's say 100. Say 100 to 1,700 pounds. You would literally be like Mr. Olympia for 40 years in a row. If that was the case. That's unbelievable, right? But no one wore sunscreen in the 1950s. And the common kind of refutation or argument that will be used to say like, oh well, like they didn't diagnose well back then. All right, so say even if they didn't diagnose skin cancer as much or they diagnosed improperly, right? It wasn't as well known back then and people would just have it and die, I guess, right? I don't know. Does that explain 1,700%? Does that really explain that? Because even if they misdiagnosed, even if they underdiagnosed, let's say that, even if they did it a ton, the skin cancer rates would still have gone up like what 500%, which is still that's so insane. That's so much. It doesn't explain 1,700% at all. All right. But sunscreen is so good for us because the government pushes this stuff out. They tell us it's right. Um, if you guys don't realize already, but the government, they push out a lot of this stuff in the medical field. Like, oh yeah, what's the new thing? Like the GLP-1s, the weight loss stuff. This is all funded, dude. This is all like, you know, funded by the top dogs. We'll say that. So I would say question this, be skeptical about this. If you're not skeptical about this already, um, you might just be a little bit oblivious and you might just be kind of coping. Um, but there's really no way to get around that statistic. And also the fact that they're always pushing, oh yeah, you gotta wear sunscreen, you gotta wear sunscreen. It's so absurd, dude. Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying to do this because I've talked with people about this before too. And some of the people who disagree, especially a few in particular, um, who I was not surprised they disagreed with. They were all kind of like soy women. I don't know. Here's what I'm not saying to do. Don't be an idiot and like burn yourself to a crisp. Go out in the sun for 4 hours and just lie there, um, hellishly burning yourself. That's not what I'm saying to do. And this was like the straw man that was used against me one time when I discussed this with somebody. He's like, "Oh, so you're just fine with getting burned?" Like, no, I'm not fine with just getting burned. That's not what I mean, right? Um, use discretion, but the odds are you can handle a lot more than 15 minutes in the sun. Dude, I went on a bike ride for an hour and a half yesterday. I went on a bike. I think I left at like 1:30. Got back home at like I guess 2:40, so like an hour, a little bit more. And it's super hot out. We're in like a crazy heat wave right now. Um, so I think it was like about a half hour in because I was wearing a cotton. like darker cotton shirt. Actually, I don't think it was darker. Whatever, doesn't matter. It was a cotton shirt, so it was like soaking in all the sweat. So I just took it off because I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I was literally shirtless for like 40 minutes, 30 minutes of that bike ride, and I didn't get burnt to a dang crisp. I can handle it, dude. And odds are you can too. I tanned, and people will say, "Oh yeah, but tanning's just as bad. Tanning damages your DNA too." No, it doesn't. I'm gonna get into that. I think that's a load of crap. I'm not a biologist, but I'm gonna kind of explain from a more logical viewpoint to refute that. So now it's like once again, use your discretion. Like I said, odds are you can handle a lot more than 15 minutes in the sun. If you're like albino or something like that, obviously wear sunscreen when you go outside. That is like that. Okay, that's an actual problem, right? That's different than if you don't have those sorts of problems, right? And if you're gonna be in the sun for a long time, for me, I do like 90 plus minutes, or like I'm gonna swim in a pool because the sun reflects a lot more. Um, and then sunscreen will be good. I think a natural sunscreen will be good. Um, but yeah, so like sunburns are obviously bad, right? I'm not saying to go get burnt, right? If something is painful, like a sunburn, right? It's kind of like, I mean, we all know what it feels like. Most people do. That indicates kind of a health issue, right? If you get cut and it hurts, that's your body telling you, like, I'm hurt. This is a health problem, not like a disease or anything, but just like a general bodily function or whatever it may be has been damaged, right? So that's not good. That's not what we want. And yes, I do think multiple bad sunburns, yes, they can lead to skin cancer. But let's get into this. So yeah, this is the next thing. So I'm against sunburns completely, but tanning, I am not against it all. I think being tan, if you can be tan year round, have that golden brown look, dude, bro, you're chilling. Like that's a really healthy thing. That's an indicator of health. A lot of people will try and say, and I got taught this in biology, that if you even tan, it's unhealthy. It's bad for you, right? This is so stupid, and this is terrible logic. Um, it just causes DNA damage. Okay, well, I think I think it's healthy. And honestly, I'm gonna give you all kind of a logical, step by step thing going on here so that I can prove to y'all that it's fine. Okay. So being tan is seen as an almost universally attractive trait. I think we can all agree. I'll say this as a guy. If a girl kind of has like a tan or that tan look, that's more attractive to me than a girl if she's like freaking like pale, right? It just is. It just is. And objective traits like this are attractive because they indicate good health and in turn fertility, right? That's why it's attractive from a more biological perspective, is because it indicates that that person is fertile, they're healthy, right? Um, I guess you could say from a more evolutionary biology standpoint. And this is kind of not either. This is agreed upon by like very scientists and biologists that like a lot of the traits that are deemed as attractive today is because they indicate good health, right? So if being 10 was actually unhealthy and damaging to us, it would probably actually be unattractive, right? Because it would lower your health and with that, lower your fertility because good health indicates and means most likely that you will have good fertility, which means you can produce offspring, have kids, basically, right? Acne comparison. So, like, think about it like acne. Acne is unhealthy. It indicates, yeah, a lack of health, right? It indicates some sort of. skin issue, you could say like damage, um, and that's unattractive to pretty much everyone. And I don't know, there's some dudes who actually find that attractive, but that's weird. That's like um really looked down upon. Like, bro, why do you like that? That's odd, right? And so, but acne's unhealthy. Yeah, a lot of these people will say that, oh, it's just natural to get when you're a teenager. And to an extent it is. And oh, sometimes, you just get acne. Dude, if you're like a 34-year-old man or woman and you have acne, like you need to fix your diet. You need to fix a lot of stuff because that's unhealthy. It's not natural, okay? So, being tan is attractive because it indicates good health and it is healthy, right? It's just so stupid that people will try and say that like, "Oh yeah, even if you're tan, yeah, it's unhealthy." Dude, like I enjoy being tan. I don't like it when I look like a freaking pasty dude, bro. Yeah, it's just a really stupid theory. Conclusion, to wrap this up, to wrap this kind of rant up, being tan and getting out in the sun without sunscreen is healthy and natural. Okay? Don't listen to these medical clowns who will try and tell you otherwise. Um, Obviously, use some common sense and discretion. Like if you're albino, like I said before, then of course use sunscreen, right? Pretty much every time you go outside. And if you're going to be out in the sun for super extended long duration, use like a natural sunscreen. It doesn't have all the BS ingredients that a lot of times cause skin cancer. And just in general, bro, like a lesson, don't blindly follow what the doctors say because a lot of times, guys, it's stupid. It's stupid. Not all the time, obviously, but you use your common sense, use your own logic, and don't completely just submit to what the doctors say because what the doctors say, the doctors, the medical field, they're not infallible, right? They're not always correct, and this has been proven time and time again when they get stuff wrong. So I think this is just another thing that will be proven. They got it wrong. Not in the near future, maybe further down the line. And a lot of people are already kind of waking up to this and seeing kind of the BS scam that this sunscreen thing is. It's just another way to make money, especially if it's something where it's like it's a moneymaker, like sunscreen. It's a huge product. It's a huge industry now. Think about that, right? Because the medical field, they're pulling that money in. Big pharma is getting that bag from the sunscreen. So of course they're gonna want you to buy it. All right. So that's my rant. I've wanted to kind of get this out there for a while. But yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. And as always, God bless.